NXT rookies deserve WWE call-ups, and I alluded in a previous video blog on my YouTube channel at Jonathan Clarke 22 that if there was an NXT rookie that was deserving of a WWE call-up, it was Seth Rollins, and a female talent was British Diva Paige. I really believe that Seth Rollins is going to be a future WWE champion out of these three NXT rookies. The work ethic on NXT is the NXT champion, the championship matches with the likes of Michael McGillicuddy, the face-to-face meeting between WWE champion and CM Punk and Seth Rollins when he joined Jim Ross for commentary during the Seth Rollins match says a lot in the way of credibility for Seth Rollins. There is no guaranteed success for any of these members of the Shield, but if there was one NXT rookie in this faction that there was guaranteed success for and you had to bet money on, it's definitely Seth Rollins because of how he's been performing not only on the Raw Super Shows as of late as part of the Shield, one of the main characters in the Shield faction, but the work ethic on NXT says a lot. All you got to do is go to YouTube and type in Seth Rollins, get a collection of Seth Rollins videos and matches, because I really believe that his best work came on NXT, especially when he was the NXT champion. NXT is where good wrestling is. If you're a fan of pure wrestling, the all-new NXT on WWE.com is the show for you, and I wish that more WWE superstars from Raw and SmackDown showed up on NXT to make guest appearances and tease rivalries with some of the NXT rookies, because I think this is what the WWE needs to increase their ratings. If you had feuds like Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, which is inevitably going to be happening over the next few months, more than likely after WrestleMania, I really think the ratings would increase. If you not only had Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, but you had people like Dolph Ziggler feuding with some of the NXT rookies, it would be great. I hope we start seeing that after WrestleMania. I'm not expecting any member of the Shield to win singles championships yet. I'm expecting them to have a position in the WWE similar to the Nexus, where the Nexus shortly after their arrival won the WWE Tag Team titles. I see that happening for the Shield, if anything, in the way of tag team titles for them. Not singles championships just yet. I don't think WWE had that kind of faith in these three NXT rookies. If there's any amount of faith in any of the three, it's Seth Rollins. And if there's anyone going to win a singles championship out of these three before the other, it's going to be Seth Rollins in the way of the Intercontinental or United States title, if anything. I don't see either one of these guys winning the WWE Championship. And again, it goes back to the performance in the Royal Rumble match. Depending on how these three form a unity in the Royal Rumble and perform in the match, if they don't implode or anything, that will determine whether or not they will win a singles championship or the tag team titles down the road. If anything, by WrestleMania, these guys will be tag team champions. It's just something about these guys that is really appropriate for the tag team division. I'd love to see them feud with some of the top teams in the tag team division right now, like the Rhodes Scholars, Kane and Daniel Bryan, the Primetime Players, Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio. I love it. I just wish WWE had that same kind of, understanding applied to a lot of new talent initiative stars. If you were promoting new talent initiative stars the same way you were promoting the Shield, then you would be creating stars more effectively than you are. I'm not saying that WWE aren't creating stars very effectively, because you see that in people like Dolph Ziggler, you see that in Ryback, you're seeing that in Sin Cara recently on both Raw and SmackDown with incredible matches with Alberto Del Rio. It's just I wish that same kind of understanding was applied to wrestlers like Sin Cara and Dolph Ziggler and even Jack Swagger, because you would be creating stars more effectively. If you had that same kind of understanding applied as you're applying to the Shield and CM Punk as one of the greatest WWE champions of all time, if you were releasing Blu-rays on people like Sin Cara and Dolph Ziggler, then you would be creating stars more effectively. I can also see the Shield, believe it or not, in a feud with The Undertaker at WrestleMania because of the presence they've been having on the Raw Super Shows. They've been targeting people like Ryback. Right now they're currently in a feud with Ryback with a six-man match in and the WWE Champion out. And I really would like to see them in a feud with The Undertaker, because I think The Undertaker needs to feud with new talent initiative stars at WrestleMania to assist in creating new stars. You know, I alluded to the idea of potentially having a feud between CM Punk and The Undertaker for WrestleMania, or Dolph Ziggler and The Undertaker for WrestleMania, or Wade Barrett and The Undertaker with Sheamus and The Undertaker, and even the Shield can be thrown into that category as well. I'd love to see new talented superstars kind of challenge The Undertaker's streak, and right now, if you're looking for a dominant force to challenge The Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania, it could be in the way of a 3-on-1 handicap match with The Undertaker's streak on the line, where The Undertaker faces the Shield, or the Brothers of Destruction team up to face the Shield in a 2-on-3 handicap match. There are a lot of roles you can have for the Shield at WrestleMania if it's not in the way of challenging for either the WWE Championship or the World Championship. In time, these guys are going to start winning singles championships and winning them often. If anything, a tag team title run is in their future because of the way they've been performing on NXT. I give them all the credit in the world for the way they've been performing on NXT. And if you haven't seen any of their work on NXT, you gotta go to YouTube and you gotta type in people like Seth Rollins and pull up some of their matches and some of their segments from NXT. They are credible talents that are deserving of the positions that they're in. And not only them, but a lot of the talents on NXT who have yet to show up on Raw and SmackDown are deserving of WWE call-ups. I love what they're doing with the all-new NXT. I've talked about it from my written column in this corner with Jonathan Clarke, and I love how NXT rookies are consistently showing up on Raw and SmackDown. Now, the good thing about NXT is when it first showed up in 2010, now you have a little bit of an understanding, if you follow the NXT show, as to who these rookies are when they show up on Raw and SmackDown. You're kind of not in the moment of a WTF kind of thing where you're wondering who in the hell these guys are and why are they here. What purpose do they serve? If you keep up with the NXT show on WWE.com on Wednesdays, you know who these guys are when they show up. If you were an avid follower of NXT when they showed up at Survivor Series, you knew who these guys were. You knew the reputation Seth Rollins had as the NXT champion for his matches with Michael McGillicuddy, and you could appreciate the fact that he was there. And when you heard the interview after weeks of skepticism and speculation surrounding these guys they gave to Michael Cole, you kind of were more appreciative of what they said, you know, when they said they didn't want to be compared to the New World Order or the Four Horsemen, who are legendary factions. Along with them, you have DX, the Nation, the Corporate Ministry, the Corporation, Evolution, who made impacts during their eras in the WWE on both Raw and SmackDown. And I think the Shield are well on their way to making that same kind of impact. You just got to give them time. I can't remember an arrival of a faction with that much force since the arrival of the original Nexus from NXT Season 1 back in 2010 during the invasion of Raw, where they decimated the entire set. That was incredible seeing that, and seeing them certify themselves as the most dominant faction in the WWE, putting them in a jeopardizable situation, was one of the most innovative storylines I had seen since the invasion of ECW, even back as far as 1996, when Jerry Lawler was referring to ECW as extreme crappy wrestling. So we have seen this kind of thing before. It's been very forceful, and I think the Shield is just as forceful. And having a talent like Seth Rollins be the leader of the faction, that gives him a great deal of emphasis. And these T-shirts for the Shield are going to be some of the top selling merchandises on WWE.com, because I think the Shield certainly have left a mark and an impression on the WWE fans unlike any other faction in the WWE of the last maybe 15 years. And we have seen a lot of factions in the WWE over the last 15 years. Of course, I've been alluding to them here for this video blog before: Horsemen, the New World Order, the Generation X, the Nation, the Nexus, the Evolution, the Hart Foundation, the Corporation. And of all those factions that I just mentioned, perhaps the most infamous of all of them, the one that recently just had a Blu-ray released on their era of destruction, the New World Order, called New World Order Revolution. And for a respective look at what the New World Order did, you can pick up that Blu-ray and DVD, which is on sale everywhere now. Perhaps the most infamous of all the factions that I alluded to is the New World Order, for the amount of members that they had in the way of Sting, the Macho Man Randy Savage, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff. I mean, they were there for a lot of incredible moments in wrestling history, when Hulk Hogan turned heel after coming over from the WWE to WCW in 1995, the hostile takeover, the separation of the New World Order into two separate factions, NWO Black and White, NWO Black and Red, led by Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash. The New World Order seemingly were there for everything, so definitely I think the New World Order was the most dominant group. Certainly at the Shield that were faced the New World Order, having that rivalry would be an absolute joke, because the New World Order would decimate them if their original members were involved in the feud, like the Macho Man Randy Savage and Scott Steiner. That would be a joke. But I think that the Shield certainly have had a presence in the WWE since their arrival that caught everybody off guard. If there was a conclusion to be deciphered for the conclusion of the three-way back at Survivor Series, I never would have thought three NXT rookies would have shown up and assisted CM Punk in winning the WWE Championship match and solidifying himself as one of the longest reigning WWE champions of the last 16 years. CM Punk believes by 2018 he'll be WWE champion. Somewhere within that 7-year period, I hope we see the feud between Seth Rollins and CM Punk, going back to an edition of NXT where CM Punk joined Jim Ross for commentary of the Seth Rollins-Michael McGillicuddy match. It was a great pure wrestling match for the NXT title, but the biggest thing that was highlighted by CM Punk's appearance on NXT, which he has an incredible amount of history with from being a pro on the show to wrestling on the show, I think was the teased rivalry of Seth Rollins and CM Punk, which needs to happen either for the WWE Championship or a match that happens on WrestleMania, because this match would be a great match and it would really assist WWE in ratings. I think it would be very beneficial to fans, especially of pure wrestling, who love pure wrestling from the 80s and 90s, which we got a consistent amount of. I think that pure wrestling is something that's lacking in the WWE and wrestling in general from both WWE and TNA now these days, and people like Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and many of the NXT rookies who I haven't mentioned on this week's video blog can assist in bringing credibility back to wrestling in the way of pure wrestling matches. CM Punk and Seth Rollins needs to happen either for the WWE title when CM Punk eventually regains the WWE Championship, because I believe the next time CM Punk defends the title, given the circumstances he's faced with his knee injury, and the knee injuries being very difficult to come back from wrestlers in the past like Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin, CM Punk will lose the WWE title to The Rock at the Royal Rumble. And if CM Punk ever regains the WWE title, and if by that time Seth Rollins is a face and he's separated from the other two NXT rookies in the Shield faction, we can have a WWE title match between CM Punk or Seth Rollins. Either way, either for the WWE title or a match based on beating the respect at each other, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins is